Hi guys, welcome back to Flora Fun and Food. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to show you how to pressure can chicken pot pie filling. Let's go. Step one is to get our chicken boiled. So it calls for 10 chicken breasts. So we're going to get these out of the packages here. And I'm just going to put them in whole because that's what it says to do. And these came in packs of 3, so I have 9 chicken breasts, but we'll make it work. And then we are going to cover the chicken with 2 inches of water. And we are going to get this started on high to get this to a boil. Okay, we've got our water boiling for our chicken here, and it's gonna be a little spitty just because it's so full, but we're gonna let this boil for about 20 minutes to make sure that the chicken is completely cooked through to the middle. And then we're gonna use this water that is going to turn into chicken stock for our recipe. Okay, now that our chicken is to temperature, we're gonna turn the heat off and get the chicken pulled out and put onto a cutting board to cool. Okay, we are going to use this as our chicken stock, so I'm just gonna put it in this bowl over here to save it for later, because now we're gonna use this pot to get our veggies going. Now, the recipe that I'm following says to use 1/4 cup of butter to do the sauteing of the veggies, but everything I read about canning, dairy is kind of one of those things that maybe you shouldn't do. So just to be on the safe side, because I haven't canned with butter before, I'm going to use olive oil to saute my veggies. Okay, to start out, we are going to need 2 cups of onions. And these are onions from my garden, so we're just going to use these. And everything I'm using veggie-wise is frozen. That just makes it even easier. So we'll get those going. I'm going to go in with just a little pinch of salt to get these sauteing a little bit faster. Now, the recipe that I'm following says to also add in 2 cups of celery at this point, but if you watched my other pot pie video, I'm just not a fan of cooked celery. So we're going to just sub in some extra veggies to make up the difference in bulk. So for right now, I'm just doing onions. So we're just going to saute these until they go a little translucent. So 5 to 8 minutes probably. Okay, now we're going to go in with 4 cups of frozen carrots, 2 cups of frozen peas, 1 cup of frozen corn, 1 cup of butternut squash, also frozen, and 2 cups of frozen green beans. Then we need 2 tablespoons of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and then the recipe also calls for 2 teaspoons of celery seed, but I don't like it, neither does my husband, so we're going to skip that. Now we're going to add in 8 cups of our chicken broth. I'm going to leave the extra here just in case we need it later. In case the clear gel thickens this too much, we'll have extra. Now we need to chop up the chicken and add it too. Okay, we are going to cube up our chicken into kind of bite-sized pieces. Maybe a little bit, bigger, but you could also shred this instead of cutting it, but I want big chunks, so we're going to chop it. Ugh, boiled chicken just does not look appetizing, but I think once we can it with all the other goodies, it'll be fine. Okay, we've got all of our chicken ready, so let's get this mixed in. And I wanted to leave big chunks of chicken because during the canning process it can kind of disintegrate them a little bit, so I kind of want to keep them more intact if I can. So they'll break apart once you cook them a little longer, so they'll be fine. Okay, this is up to a boil, so it's time to add our clear gel, and I just don't have enough space in this pot to stir it well enough, so I'm just going to take out some of the chicken and veggies and get the broth thickened up, and then we'll add it back in. It'll be fine. So, top tip, use a bigger stock pot, but I just don't want to dirty up another one. Now that it's boiling, we need 1 1/3 cup of clear gel. Now this is safe for canning, and this is going to help thicken everything without using like dairy to make a roux. So that was 2 1/2 cups, so 1 cup and 1/3. So this is just cornstarch that has been modified to be used in canning. I'm not really 100% sure why regular cornstarch doesn't work, so if somebody knows, let me know in the comments. But I wanted to make sure I bought the right thing. So we'll stir this in and let it thicken up, and if it gets too thick, we have that extra reserved broth setting over to the side just in case we need it. And it definitely has a lot of lumps, so I'm going to keep stirring and let this thicken. Alright, this is nice and thick, so I'm going to turn the heat down and just keep stirring a little bit, but let's get our jars ready. Okay, I preheated some jars in my electric pressure canner, so I'm going to get these emptied out. I had water in it just to help heat it up because we're putting hot into hot, so hopefully nothing breaks. My pressure canner fits 5 wide mouth jars, so I'm going to add as much filling as I can, and my canning funnel is in the dishwasher, so but whatever doesn't fit in these jars I can save to can later, or I can use immediately, or put it in the fridge, so nothing's going to go to waste. I'm going to add just a little bit of my extra broth to these because this is really thick, but I'm just going to add it into my jars. So now we're just going to add our filling to the jars, trying not to make a giant mess. And we want to leave 1 inch of headspace, so that means from the top of the food to the top of the jar needs to have an inch of just air. And then I'm just going to use the end of a wooden spoon to just get any air bubbles out that might be in there. And I overfilled this one just a little bit, so we'll scoop some out. So now I'm going to take a rag that I dipped in distilled white vinegar to completely wipe off the rim to help prevent any issues with sealing. Okay, next up we're going to add our lids, and we're just going to screw the ring on finger tight. And this ring actually has a dent in it, so I'm going to use a different one. Don't want to take any chances of anything going wrong. Okay, let's get the lid back on. Then we need to close this latch and twist it so it locks. I've removed the regulator from the back, it just pulls right off. And now I'm gonna hit play because earlier when I was preheating this, I set it to the correct time. So these need to process for an hour and a half. And if you're using a regular pressure canner, it needs to be 11 pounds of pressure. So I'm gonna hit play and it will start venting, and it'll beep at me when I need to put the regulator back on, and it'll kind of do everything automatically. So this makes it so easy, you don't even have to worry about it. You can just set it and forget it. Part of my screen doesn't work, but it should say vent right here. And then a 10-minute timer popped up, and so now it's counting down from 10 minutes to let all of this vent and get kind of situated. Then we'll go and put our regulator back on, and then it should start the pressure canning process for the hour and a half that we set it to earlier. So now it's just a waiting game. Okay, it is done heating up to pressure, so I'm going to put the regulator on using a pot holder because steam is coming out. Push it down, and then we are going to turn it to the canning position. And then we'll hit play again. And now my 90-minute timer is going to start, and once this is up to pressure, it'll start counting down. This vent may not have lifted up yet, so it'll still release pressure and steam, so that's okay. It will lift up eventually when it's ready. So now it's just a waiting game, and it'll automatically start the cool down process. It can take about an hour and a half to cool some things down, but once there's 10 minutes left, it'll show a timer and count down, and then you can open it up and get your cans out. Okay, our pressure canner just beeped saying that it was done, so I'm going to hold the X down for 3 seconds to turn it off. Well, I guess it doesn't turn it off, it just resets it. And then we will unlock it and take our lid off. Alright, I'm going to use my canning tongs to lift these out and set them on a rag to dry. A dish drying mat also works really well for this. I've used that before. There we go. And now we will let these cool and make sure that the seals are sealed. And it was that easy. Okay guys, that is it. That was actually really easy. It just took a little bit of time. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and head over to my channel to subscribe for more content like this. And I hope to see you again very soon. Thanks guys. Bye.